What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's good to see you tonight on the speaknsee show. Like, subscribe, click the notification button so when I get information out, you can get information in. Here we go. We are going to talk about the EIDL grant, the $6 billion in funds that Ben Cardin wants to put forward that people are getting on top of my channel say, hey, what about the EIDL grant? And I'm watching my boy Jason McElhone do his thing over there. Like, subscribe to his channel. He's amazing. And I got to address the issue for you all because apparently it's important enough to go over. If you did not see the video I put out today about the third round of PPP, looking like Ben Cardin, Shaheen, and Coons, 3 senators on board to get that bill put in front of the table quickly and promptly so that you guys can get another round of forgivable PPP, which is basically a grant. It gets forgiven in 3 weeks after you get the money in. So if you can prove that you have spent the money from the prior ones, if you've already gotten it, then you can get those funds. So let me go over this. We're going to go over this kind of a chillin' fashion tonight, you know, just kind of relaxing and going over this new bill that Ben Cardin has put out that really doesn't have any text to it yet, but it has some texture as far as what he says it's going to have in it, and we'll go over that, and then we'll go to the bill in Congress as well so that we can pick this thing apart and let you know what's going on and if that has to do with your EIDL grants per se or if that has to do with any kind of grant whatsoever, if it can even pass it on the floor. So we're going to go over that, but before we do, can somebody say, hey, we still want our 10K.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, here we go. We're going to go over the press release that Ben Cardin has put out. He put out on the 23rd, the one that Jason McElhone's been talking about for a while, that $6 billion to go towards grants to small businesses who are still in need of funds during the pandemic. So we're going to go into this, and then we're going to piece by piece go over it to see if maybe it does pertain to your $10,000 EIDL grant or if it would be an all-new grant together. So let's go ahead and dive into this, okay? Washington U.S. Senate Committee on Small Business and Entrepreneurship Chair Ben Cardin of Maryland today introduced legislation to provide grants to hard-hit small businesses that can demonstrate substantial losses in 2020 and 2021 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So right there, for the first view that we get of this is you will have to show a substantial loss. Now, what's the substantial loss? For the supplemental grant, it was 50% or more that you had to lose. So I'm thinking it's going to be around there if your business has lost 50% or more within 20 to 21 due to the COVID-19 pandemic relief. I'm thinking it's going to be more for those type of businesses right there from that portion that we see. Next, we're going to go. I'm just showing you the legislation or the article that we're reading right now is from Ben Cardin's site. This is the press release straight from the horse's mouth right here. Cardin introduced legislation to provide relief businesses still recovering from pandemic, and that was released about a week or maybe 10 days ago. Okay, here we go. The bill will establish hard-hit small business relief fund, which would transfer the remaining funds from the U.S. Small Business Administration's SBA's COVID-19 relief programs, approximately $6 billion, to make grants eligible to small businesses as defined by the SBA. Now, when we're saying here as defined by the SBA, guys, come on, man. What are we talking? What is the SBA going to define a grant as being? And this is one of the reasons the Republicans had a problem with the RRF is the SBA was once again trying to define who would get the money and how it would be implemented. And so that right there, as defined by the SBA, doesn't really stoke my hopium goes down here a little bit by reading that. So let's go on to the next part of it. Senator Cardin says our committees have regained a hard-earned sense of normalcy after the worst of COVID-19, but for many small businesses, the nightmare continues. Now, I'm not laughing at the small businesses whose nightmare has continued. That part's true, but the sense of normalcy after the worst of COVID-19, really? I mean, it was the political spectrum of the whole ordeal that took businesses in America out of normalcy, can I do that here? Normalcy, and put them in this weird state of unsettling feelings for the American people. So if he's saying hard-earned sense of normalcy after the worst of COVID-19, maybe he's talking about themselves and the politics there. So yeah, let's go forward, Ben. Where it says unsustainable debt right here, that right there is a big plus sign for the deferment of the EIDL loan, because if they already know that we're struggling with debt, then why would they go ahead and implement the EIDL, loans and make us start paying and make small businesses start paying come, very soon. A lot of you, maybe even in August, would have to start paying that. I'm not sure exactly who got it the soonest or how soon that would apply, but we know Isabel Guzman, the SBA administrator, has total control. Isabel Guzman can literally say, okay, guys, we're not going to, make you pay for your loans for another 6 months, or if she wanted to do for a year and a half, she has the full authority to do that. And that's what Congress and the Senate, or the Republicans, are trying to strip from her, is that much authority given to one unelected official such as Isabel Guzman, who is the SBA administrator. Let's go on reading this. American small businesses are still struggling under unsustainable debt, ongoing supply chain delays, and workforce challenges that inhibit their ability to operate and grow their business. The hard-hit Small Business Relief Fund Act would make approximately $6 billion of unused federal COVID-19 small business aid available to small businesses that need help the most. Now, when they say the most, that means more than likely not all. Just the most. They're not talking about the $10,000 EIDL grant for those of you who didn't get the money, and maybe you're doing okay now, and there's people who need it more than you. They would probably go in another direction. So I'm thinking it's not the same as the EIDL grant. So let's go ahead and move on with it. While the bill grants the SBA the authority to define eligibility, the bill clarifies that sole proprietorships, independent contractors, self-employed individuals, and tribally owned small businesses are eligible. But it still says, while the bill grants the SBA authority to define eligibility. Now, putting that in the bill alone is going to take the Republicans, it's going to take 50 votes off, or at least 48 to 45 votes. Their hands are going to come off and say, no, we're not granting the SBA authority here. She's going to be under sure surveillance of the committee and the Congress and the Senate, and she's going to have to answer to us what she does. She's not just going to go off on her own and say we're giving it to this group or that group. So I kind of think that right there, just that statement right there, is what really just deflated me when I saw that, and I had a hard time believing that was going to be brought forth and given any leeway as far as passing. That hurts. That right there will not pass. I can assure you that's why the other one didn't pass either. The bill requires the SBA to track and report all grants publicly and establish an auditing process, ensure that the transparency program is administered transparently. Transparent auditing process, ensure that the program is administered transparently. It requires it to track. Okay, that's fine. It really doesn't say much. Now, here's what part where I want to go over. I want to go over the congress.gov, okay? The S4471. This is the bill. This is the bill that we were just talking about, that Senator Cardin, he goes to the floor and he puts the bill inside of a bucket or inside of the container, and he, boom, sets the bill in. They take their notes on it, and that's why we're seeing this right here on congress.gov, because it's now in the Library of Congress, and we have a bird's eye view on what's happening. So as we look at this, we see, first of all, it was introduced. Great, it was introduced, but I'm seeing no one action, the action being that it was introduced. One title, the title is basically what it's saying, that it is there, a bill to provide relief. There's no text. I go to the next page, we go to the text on it. As of, the text has not been received as of the 29th. So that's yesterday. There's still no text received on it. So as of yesterday, there's been no text on this bill. So Ben Cardin's attorneys and his staff are working on putting the bill into text here. So, and it says bills are generally sent to the Library of Congress, to the GPO, the government publishing office, a day or two, and then they have to be introduced on the floor of the Senate, and delays can occur, and a large number of bills are prepared. So now we know that there are going to be delays. This isn't going to happen overnight. This bill is not going to get its text and hit the floor. It's just not. That's not how fast things work. These things take time unless everybody's on board, and this is going to be a tough one. But let's go on a little bit further on here. I'm going to go right here where it says S4471, this is the bill as well. You want to go to the co-sponsors and find out who's behind it. Like in the other one that I had just read in the PPP3 that's coming up, you got Coons, you've got Shaheen, and you've got Ben Cardin. So you've already got 2 co-sponsors that are going to be help pushing this bill along. And now when we look at this bill, we also have to remember another bill, but first we'll go over this one. And it says 0 co-sponsors, and then we come on down to here, and it says still no co-sponsors, because if there were, we would have a name down there, even if it was a Democrat, which it would be even better to see a Republican jump on board with this to say, yeah, we also would like to sponsor it. But right now, it's got no sponsors, it's got no text, it's got no validity as far as when and how this would go down. So now I would like to go into, remember, this is the bill that I would really love to see out there, which is the S513, which would be, it's Ensuring Increased Disaster Loans for Small Businesses Act. And it had the co-sponsor, as down here, as you can see, of Senator John Cornyn. And this was put in there by Jackie Rosen. However, this I'm giving you this as an example. The date the co-sponsors was 3/1/2021. So this was a year and 3 months ago, maybe a year and 4 months as of tomorrow. Or today, depending when this video goes out, either tonight or tomorrow. But it's been a year, and this bill has just basically been a wash. It has not even been looked at. Nobody else has given it a second thought. Jackie Rosen, even after she did it, and she was approached by Biden's wife a couple days later and never spoke about it again. I think they got onto her and said, hey, stop with the bill, because what this bill did, it was taking out the policy map. This bill right here would have taken out the policy map and given the EIDL grant to all small businesses, regardless of location, which the policy map screwed everybody. And what I'm concerned about as well is when we go into these bills. Let me come back down here. What I had read today on the PPP3 that they're issuing out for, it's called the P4 loan that's going to be a forgivable. It's going to be PPP round number 3, which I remember saying PPP round number 2. I don't know if you guys watched me back then, but I was saying there's going to be a PPP round number 2, and people were getting on me, no, and a lot of other YouTube channels will watch Speak and See, and then they'll go and they'll post videos on what I say, because I do a lot of legwork for a lot of other channels, which is great as long as they share the message appropriately. I'm okay with that, and and then I was also saying the EIDL loan is going to also have a round 2 coming in. It's coming your way. And people were like, no, what are you, the Speak and See guy is crazy. And then we did see the EIDL loan come out with the other round, which gave people a lot more money. And we also saw the PPP come out with the second round as well, which gave people, a second round of PPP. This P4 is basically a third round, and I'm calling it a third round because it's easier. It's the third initial push, or the third push of the PPP. Which will be coming out and has some very good legs behind it as well. But here's what I wanted to go to with this. I'm going to read this. This comes from, I believe it was Shaheen who was saying this, or this is part of the bill, the P4 Paycheck Protection Program Part 3. SBA issued guidance to give priority businesses with 10 employees or fewer processing and disbursement P4 loans, and requires the SBA to request demographic information of P4 loan recipients. Now, I put the map there. I put the map over there on the picture. It wasn't there, but when I see demographic information, it makes me think that they're targeting a specific area for these forgivable loans. And it's kind of bringing me back to Ben Cardin, who's very on board with the policy map. And when he comes up with that $6 billion and we want to give Isabel Guzman control of it, it makes me feel like, well, that leaves 90% of the businesses out, or 85%, and she's going to go ahead and give them to whoever she deems fit to have them, and not just to the small businesses that are suffering, depending on what color you are, or your sexual preferences and all that stuff. They want to target a certain group of people, and I'm thinking that with the new $6 billion that Ben Cardin's looking at, it would be too much of a targeting process, and it really wouldn't help as many people as it could. Therefore, I think the Republicans are definitely going to say, ain't going to happen. So I'm not really big on that $6 billion that Ben has. However, I'm pretty big on this one right here, depending on whether that demographic information on P4 loans is talking about, those, since those have already got it, are going to not get it, or if those who have already got it. Now we're going to go down the list who got the least, and then as far as the financial demographics, depending or determining who gets what, and not the location of where you live depending on who gets what. So with that said, I would just like to say, I would love to see the EIDL $10,000 grant program brought back for all of those, like as it was an S513 Rosen's bill. But when we start talking about the $10,000 EIDL grant coming back, we want to see legislation in text saying those who were denied the $10,000 grant due to location. In particular, we need this in text. We need it to be straight. We need it to be clear and concise. We can't keep. We don't want to be misleading anybody here. We want to keep everything, to keep the eye on the target and keep the eye on the prize. Because if we think that it's one thing and we're pushing for that, and we find out that we pushed for the wrong package, then we're all going to be screwed here. And I don't want to see that happen to anybody. I want to see the $10,000 grant go out to those people who didn't get it, and it needs to be in a text, and it needs to be clearly stated that we missed a lot of people in that grant due to the location. So let's go ahead and put that out there, and then we can take the policy map, call it a bust, and just move forward with our lives. So with that said, I hope you all enjoy this. I hope this helps, and it was good seeing you guys. We're getting a lot of subscribers lately, and I just want to say thank you. I appreciate everybody out there who's watching. I'm humbled. It humbles me, and I want to make sure that I serve you in the best way, in the most concise and truthful way that we possibly can here on this channel. And me and my helpers, my staff out there, they work so hard to try to get this information to you and to post and to get it out there to you correctly, so that you all can get your grants and you can get loans and you can keep your businesses moving forward in the right direction. And I want to say once again, thank you all for watching. But hey, can somebody say hey? Leave a comment down there. We still want our 10K. Love you guys.
Yeah.